All right, what you're about to hear is a true story, and it is chilling. It comes from a woman named Samiksha, who's recalling an experience from her student days back in Patna, India. But this isn't just your average ghost story. We're going to break down an encounter that really blurs the line between outright terror and something much, much lonelier. We're actually starting with this quote because it's the heart of the whole story. It's the conclusion Samiksha came to after everything was said and done. It completely reframes the narrative, you know? What kicks off like a classic haunted house tale ends with a really deep question about what we're actually afraid of. So let's keep that idea in our back pocket as her story begins. Okay, so let's set the scene. We have to wind the clock back about 30 or 40 years. A young Samiksha arrives in the big city of Patna to start her graduation studies. She's completely on her own, her family is miles away, and she has next to no money to find a place to live. I mean, can you just imagine the pressure she was under? For 6 solid days, she's desperately looking for a room. But this was a different time, and she kept getting turned away by landlords just because of her caste. All the while, her money is just vanishing. Her dad's a farmer, he can't just send more. Her options just narrowed and narrowed until there was only one left. A place that, well, nobody else wanted. And this was the house. It wasn't just old. It was practically a ruin. The source material calls it a khandar, which is the perfect word for it. Samiksha literally felt like the roof could cave in on her. It was this huge, sprawling property, but just completely neglected. But what could she do? Her classes were about to start, the money was gone. This was it. This was her only option. So Samiksha moves into this crumbling house, surrounded by nothing but dust and decay. But it's right here, in this forgotten, lonely place, that something really unexpected happens. Her life is about to take a turn, and at first, it seems like it's for the better. Out of nowhere, this elderly woman, a dadi or grandmotherly figure, just shows up at her door one day. Now for Samiksha, who was feeling totally isolated in this new city, this was just everything. A friendly face, a real connection to the world outside those crumbling walls. And they fell into this routine almost immediately. Every single day, the dadi would come by, they'd sit and talk for hours, just sharing stories. Samiksha even started giving the old woman a traditional head massage, a champi, just like she would have back in her village. A real, genuine friendship started to grow. And this connection became Samiksha's lifeline, her emotional anchor. In a city where she felt like a total outsider, this dadi felt like family. The comfort, the company she gave, it was priceless. It made that creepy old house actually feel like a home for the very first time. And it's this bond that makes what happens next so deeply unsettling. So as time passes, Samiksha's college life gets way more demanding. You know how it is. Projects, friends, she's often getting home late. And those daily visits from the dadi started to become a little less frequent. And it was in this new space, this new quiet, that the very first seeds of a deep, chilling doubt began to grow. One afternoon, Samiksha gets that feeling. You know the one, that someone's standing behind you. She glances down and sees a shadow on the floor. But it was wrong. The shadow was tall, impossibly tall, with hair that seemed to be flowing like crazy. She whips around, and there's the dadi, smiling just like always, but for the first time, the sight of her friend sent a shiver of pure, cold fear down her spine. And that's when her mind starts racing, trying to make sense of it all. As she looks past the dadi, she notices something that is just not possible. The main gate, the only entrance to her part of the property, it was bolted shut from the inside. I mean, really think about that for a second. If the only way in was locked from her side, it was physically impossible for anyone to have gotten in. Her brain just couldn't square the locked gate with the woman standing right in front of her. And then the most terrifying question of all hits her. If the gate was locked and the shadow didn't match the body, then who or what had she been talking to every day? The comforting presence of her only friend had just become a horrifying, impossible puzzle. So that doubt and fear just festered in Samiksha's mind. And then, the night came when the truth was revealed in the most horrifying way you can imagine. This is the absolute peak of her story. In the dead of night, in her locked room, Samiksha starts to wake up. Not because of a sound, but because of a touch. She could feel fingers gently massaging oil into her hair, just like the Champi she always gave the Dottie. When she slowly raised her own hand to her head, it came away slick with oil. She was not alone. As she's sitting there, completely frozen in terror, a voice whispers from the darkness right behind her. It was the Dottie's voice, as clear as day. "I have come, my child. You called for me." In that single moment, every one of her worst fears was real. She screamed and just bolted from the room, running out into the pitch-black courtyard. She flees into the night, her heart just pounding, desperate for an escape. And there, standing by the giant banyan tree in the middle of the courtyard, was the figure of the Dottie, just waiting for her. But it wasn't her. Not anymore. The being standing there wasn't a small, elderly woman. Its form had stretched, distorted into something monstrously tall. We're talking nearly 9 feet high. Its hair was flowing wildly in the wind, exactly like the shadow she'd seen before. And the final image, the one that burned itself into her memory, was this. In the total blackness of the courtyard, the entity's face was a stark, glowing white, and it was smiling at her. Her screams finally pierced the night, and a light snapped on in the landlord's part of the house. The landlords rushed out, found the hysterical Samiksha, and brought her into their home. They calmed her down, and as the sun came up the next morning, the landlady finally explained the dark secret of the property and the true identity of Samiksha's only friend. And here's the truth. The kind Dottie from the village, she never existed. The woman Samiksha had befriended, shared stories with, and cared for was the ghost of the landlady's own mother-in-law, who had died tragically on that very property years ago. And suddenly, everything just clicked into place. The spirit's attachment to that banyan tree explained why she was always in the courtyard. It also explained why the landlords were so hesitant to rent her the room in the first place. They knew the property was haunted. They had even tried to warn her away from it, but Samiksha's desperation left her with no other choice. After she left that house for good and moved in with a college friend, Samiksha had time to really think about it all. And this was her final takeaway. Despite the absolute bone-chilling terror of that last night, the spirit had never once tried to hurt her. Every interaction, from their long talks to that ghostly head massage, was an act of companionship. It was an entity reaching out not to harm, but just to connect. And so, that brings us right back to where we started. Samiksha's incredible story forces us to ask a really fundamental question about the paranormal. When we come across something we can't explain, is our first gut reaction of fear the right one? Or is there maybe something else there, something tragic or lonely, just waiting for someone to finally understand?